Hi guys, and welcome back to the Bristol Prepper channel. So today guys, we are talking about choosing your first axe. So before we begin guys, I want to do this sort of video because I get a lot of questions from either like new preppers or new to people new to bushcraft, and those sorts of things. I get a lot of questions from that sort of side of the water. So I want to cover this one. I'm not sure if I've covered it before, but doesn't matter anyways, I'll do it again. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. And also guys, don't mind my hair, it is doing my head in. I'm in the process of growing it. I want to grow it longer. I want to go for the whole like top knot look thing going. But yeah, it's just taking forever. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, let's talk axes. So, first question you want to ask yourself is a couple of things. Firstly, how much have you got to play with? Secondly, what are you using it for? You know, so if it's maybe if you're using it for bushcraft and you're only going short distances, you would use more of a camp axe, like a bigger axe. If you're say a hiker and you want a small camping axe to take with you and go on those long hikes when you set up just to chop up some firewood, then you're going to need a smaller axe. All these questions come into play, and then you get those that are in between. And also the styling of the axe, you know, it comes into play a lot, and obviously the pricing. Axes can range anywhere from cheap ones from like a £1 all the way up to hundreds of pounds. You know, you can go so far with it, and obviously the accessories and all the rest of it. So it all depends on those things. First of all, my biggest suggestion to you guys is if you're buying your first axe or your first knife, any first bit of equipment, don't buy anything expensive. Just for the pure fact, one, you don't know if you like it. Second thing, if it's your first version of that product, so just say you're buying your first axe, then you don't know whether you'll be an axe man. You might be a machete guy, you know. You get these guys that are big knife guys, and they only use big knives. You get these guys that are tool guys and they have one of each tool. Then you get these guys that are only machete guys, and you get the axe guys. You know, you get a good variation. So it's really, you want to try it before you jump in both feet. So yeah, I'd suggest get a cheaper one, and maybe get several cheaper ones, cheaper axes, that you can get a feel for which axes do which. So yeah, so I'm going to show you a couple of things. So we've got the one I redid, the restoration I did on this old master's axe, carpenter's axe, you know, some old next level axe that I picked up from a car boot, which Americans call, oh my god, what is the name for them? Flea market? Is it a flea market? Something like that. You go there, everybody cracks a boot open, and then you sell stuff to each other. So yeah, I picked this up from there. I think my missus paid about £3 for it. Obviously, it didn't look like this when I bought it. It was in a right state. If you want to see the pictures, go onto my Facebook and look on photos, and you'll see the axe when I first bought it. Tiny little handle and rusted to shit. Anyway, this is a smaller axe, so you could use this for carving work in your base camp setting, or you could use it, say, for a camping axe. So you can put it in your rucksack. It's really small, doesn't weigh a lot, not an awful lot. You can stuff it in your rucksack and take it with you on long hikes, you know. But obviously then you won't get the leverage. It hasn't got a lot of weight to the head. It's got a good amount of weight to it, so you can use it for carving, but not a lot of weight to it. Nothing compared to a full-scale felling axe, of which you use that for a base camp. Yeah, so you want to decide really the length upon, that's the main thing, one of the main things. The length of the handle, that's a big choice. Do you want a small one, do you want a medium one, or do you want a large one? Obviously depending on what you're using it for. This is why I say buy several, because you might buy the large one and you might just find it's uncomfortable. You're not going to go very far with it, but you might want a smaller one just because it's more comfortable. You see, you want to try several before you indulge in something very expensive and very good. You know, do you know what I mean? So don't go buy Grants for Brooks straight away, because you don't know which size you like, which one or style you like. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I just kind of say hold fire and test the water. Yeah, so choosing your handle length is quite a big piece. Then the head. So heads come in, axe heads come in all different shapes and sizes. Obviously, as you can see here, I'll bring another one up. This is a tomahawk, so you might not class it as an axe, or like a wood cutting axe, but yeah, it's tomahawk, axe, all the same. And you got this, the cold steel trail boss. So what you can see from here, if I hold them all up, without chopping any of my feet off or my toes, all the heads are very different. You know, this is a thicker, heavier head. It's a slim, streamlined head with a pommel on the back, with a hammer pull on the back. Then you got this really thin head with no hammer pull on the back. So, and all these do different jobs. You know, this one will be a lot better at splitting than this one would be, because of the head is obviously tapered, thicker at this end and then thin at this end. So when it goes into the wood, it drives it out to the side. You know, whereas in this one, it would stick straight in, and then that'd be it. Yeah, but obviously this one would be a lot heavier. And that's what another question you'll ask yourself: what are you using it for? If you're using it just to base camp setting, just to split wood, then you might need a bigger, thicker head again. You know, that's kind of a medium head, quite a thinner head considering some axes. You can buy just a splitting axe, and those heads will be like this, but then they'll flare right out, as much as this. You know, I've seen them; they flare right out. You have metal pieces coming out, and then it'll come out and then cut back in. So they're like really designed for splitting. They won't do a lot else but split. You know, so they hit a log and it'll just bank straight out. Which, like I said, if you're in a base camp setting and that's what you're using it for, then that's going to be the best axe by far. Yeah, so that's the heads. This was another kind of in between one, you know, because it's a tomahawk. It's relatively thick for its size. Does a whole host of jobs quite well. Does good chopping. Does relatively good splitting. Obviously nothing too thick, but this is why I bought this one. You know, I find it's a really good in between axe. Handle is longish. I can get two hands on it and do a good chop with two hands, but it's not too long that I couldn't choke up on it and use it for fine tasks. Do you know what I mean? Because this one just seems a bit long. It's only a tad longer than that one, but it just seems too unwieldy, too big. The handle's a lot thicker. Like I said, yeah, just too unwieldy, too big. So all these things to consider. This handle's a lot thinner, so I can get my hand, grasp my hand around it very tightly, and know it's not going nowhere. With the other one, it's quite a thick handle, and my hand's not touching. Yeah. So what was I talking about? The handles. Yeah. So the handles. Yeah, like I said, this one I get two hands on it, and it's very nice. Not too heavy. I can still put it in a backpack, but like I said, I've got the extra bit of length if I need it. This is why I'm quite a big fan of tomahawks now. I've gone through lots and lots of axes, but I'm just a big fan of tomahawks with the light heads and the versatility of the head. So this head here is held in by nothing at all but friction. So I could just grab this head now, tap the handle on the ground, and the head would slide straight off. This one, for instance, is held in with a wedge. This one is held in with a wedge. So those, in theory, could just slide straight off the end. They won't because they've got a wedge in there, but they could. And if the handle broke with those, it's more of a pain in the ass to get a handle to fit, because these handles are curved. So you could do one straight, but then you've got to shape it, carve it out, shape it, and then you've got to try and find a wedge to stick in there. With this one, to replace a handle, all I've got to do is find a nice bit of wood, whittle it down a little bit, so it's a little bit more round, so it'll be easier to whittle and shape, and then just slide it right on there. You know, it's going to be really easy because of the shape of the, because of the head. It's got there's nothing holding on, it's just friction. So slide it off and find a new handle. You know, because lots of people break these when they're throwing axes. You know, because people use tomahawks for throwing axes. They break the handles, so that's why they use them, because they're really easy to replace. Yeah, guys, so all these things to think about when you're buying your first axe. the biggest thing I think for me was finding one that will kind of in the middle. So I don't go that far, especially when I'm filming outside. I won't go that far, you know. I'm not trekking miles. I just want to get there, film, and get out because editing just takes so long. So I'm not worried about going too far, but I don't carry something heavy. This fan was I found it to be a little bit cumbersome, you know. Take it out every day. It's quite weighty and bulky to put in the car. And this really light. I can just chuck it in my rucksack and it'll go in my rucksack fine. The handle will hang out a little bit, but it's no bother. And just chuck it in there and it's gone. And I've got this hammer head on the back, amazing for driving stakes into the ground, cracking, breaking things. Is really good and nice and strong. So this is about £30 mark, I think. So was the Trail Boss, and then the other one, like I said, was about £3 before I restored it. So these aren't expensive axes I've got on show for you today. So you don't have to go mad, you know. And then you could decorate yours like I did with mine. Decorate it nice, or mod it and change it, whatever you want to call it, and make it your own. There's just so many out there. I just really recommend you guys buy some cheaper axes, get a feel for it, what lengths you like, what handle style you like, what woods work good for you, what don't, what metals work well for you in the heads, you know, because all the metals vary so much upon what metals and what steels they use, and you can find your perfect place, you know. Like knives, people like 4-inch, some people like 10, some people like 11-inch knife. I don't know, the custom machete then, but yeah, you know what I mean. People like different grinds, so it's similar with axes, you know. So people like certain things. Is you shouldn't go by what I said was amazing. You might hate this, you know. I love this thing, but you might hate it. So it's all about finding your perfect place. So I think that's why I recommend so much of buying several cheaper axes, even if second-hand ones, just from car boot sales or flea markets, and just testing them out and see what works for you. You know, see which one you think will fit your lifestyle and your what your activity you're doing perfect. You know, because a person who just does very long hikes and it's weight is worried about weight and stuff wouldn't want to take the Trail Boss because it would just be too cumbersome. It's just finding that happy medium of where you're happy. You know, you might want the lightest axe. I've seen you can get nowadays some just axe heads, and it's got like an attachment point on the back, which you get a stick or a log or whittle it down or whatever, get a handle, make a handle in the woods, and then tie it to it. I've seen those like survival axe heads on the internet. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there, you know. I do recommend going to hennyhaines.com or .co.uk. Yeah, it's an English site. They're based in Wales. They sell an awful lot of cool stuff, and they sell a lot of axes as well. I've bought several from there, so go check those guys out. They're really good if you're in England. I'm not sure if you live in America. eBay or Amazon, I think. There's so many out there, so I really recommend go test them out and see what you think it works well for you. And then don't be scared to mix it up a bit, you know, like mod it out and change it, cut the handle length down if you don't like it, you know, and then find your perfect place, and then you've got something to work from then, you know. So when you go to buy your more expensive axe down the line, you go, yeah, this is what I want. I want the 15-inch handle with the longer, heavier head or whatever, do you know what I mean? Or you could go make your own. Buy a head and buy a handle, push them together, you know, and make your own. There's nothing saying you can't do that, and obviously be your own then. When you make something or mod it or change it, it just feels a lot more special, you know. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling on now. Yeah, so go find your axes, go on the internet, buy some cheap axes, and then come back to me and tell me which ones you got, which ones you like. And also, guys, if any of you guys got any cool things to say or anything you want to say in the comments, slam it all down beneath. Just say what axe you got, what's your favourite axe. I'd love to hear it, guys. I love hearing all your stuff you talk back to me. It's amazing. I love it. Anyway, guys, as always, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Slam it all down there. Press all those buttons. Just press the mouse everywhere. If anyone wants any of my jumpers or t-shirts, just give me a shout. Yeah, that's it really, guys, for this episode. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. But as always, stay prepared, and I'll catch you guys another day, another way.